That being said, we will call the meeting to order. And in doing so, we will call on Councillor Richardson. You guys have switched your front signs.
Oh.
Helpful. Okay, in the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge our meeting place. The City of Flin Flon Council Chambers is situated on the ancestral lands of the Treaty 5 territory. We would also like to acknowledge that we also work in partnership with First Nations on Treaty 6 and 10 territories and the Red River Métis Nation.
Perfect, thank you. Now we'll have a reading and confirming of minutes with Councillor Slip.
Yes, be it resolved that the minutes of the regular meeting of council held June 4th, 2024 be adopted as received.
Need a seconder? Councillor Richardson? All in favor? Good. Now, resolution. So we will go right off the bat to Councillor Dallas Funk.
Thanks. Check schedule 25-02. Be it resolved that the account in the amount of $1,089,093.29 be approved for payment.
Seconder, Councillor Eagle. All in favor? That's pretty quick for spending $1 million, isn't it? Just
Yeah.
okay. Back to Councillor Litwin, I believe.
Just one resolution, Your Worship, bylaw 2024-12, maintenance and occupancy. It's resolution 25-03. Be it resolved that the bylaw number 2024-12, being a bylaw of the City of Flin Flon to establish standards of maintenance and occupancy for property, be read a first time and passed on first reading.
Seconder, Councillor Hanson. All in favor? And that is passed. Councillor Hanson, I believe.
Yeah, I have one resolution, Your Honor, 2504, the Aqua Center facility. Be it resolved that bylaw number 24-13, being a bylaw of the City of Flin Flon to authorize the expenditure of borrowing of money for the design and construction of a new Aqua Center facility, be ready first time and passed on first reading.
Seconder, Councillor Dallas Funk. All in favor? I'll get a new tongue. I went to the dentist today. Things are not all working the way they should. Okay, we will go to Councillor Richardson, please.
2024 dust control tender, Tiger Calcium, 25-05. Whereas the City of Flin Flon did call tenders for dust control, therefore be it resolved that Tiger Calcium be awarded the 2024 program and that the Mayor and Chief Administrative Officer be authorized to sign the necessary documents be approved.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor Slip. And all in favor? I think that's a pretty easy one. We have Councillor Eagle next.
Yes, thank you. This is resolution 25-06. It is the fire chief report for April 2024. Be it resolved that the fire chief's report for the month of April 2024 be received and filed.
Seconder, Councillor Litwin. All in favor? Thank you.
And before we move on to the end, I just would mention that this fire report has 9 callouts, various structure fires, actually quite 4 of them, fire alarms and collision assists, as well as the usual training regarding hose lines, supply and attack hoses, water supply and volume operations, and of course administration.
Thank you.
Yes.
Anybody want to make any comments before? Okay, I will adjourn the meeting and we will move to questions from the press.
That might be a record. It's been 4 minutes.
It's pretty quick.
I said it right off the hop. This is going to be a fast one.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay, I got a couple of quick questions here. For this borrowing of money from the Aqua Center, how much are we talking about?
That's exactly the 7.4 million that I talked about in the budget presentation.
7.4 million?
Yeah, that's the large construction loan that will turn into debentures in 2027.
Yeah. There's a chart outlining it there. Be in the package right next to the fire chief's report.
Okay.
It's the same one from the budget.
It's exactly
Right.
the same one. Yes.
Okay.
The numbers are exactly the same as they were in the budget.
Okay. And this dust control, when does this start immediately? Is this for next year? When does that kick in?
As soon as it gets here, I think.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
just like
it's for this year.
ASAP or?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it depends, because last year that was the one that was delayed and deferred. I guess there was like a rail shipment that got delayed recently, and
Yeah.
I think we got it late in the fall, so it's just for like the back roads and stuff like that where they spray and keep the dust down, so.
So you don't really have a timetable on it?
Well, now that this is done now,
It'll be pretty
it'll be
quick.
signed for and then the.
Sorry, Bill, what was that?
It should be pretty quick. Generally, they're out about this time of year,
Okay.
so.
I just have one other quick question, it's not on the agenda here, but it's just something that other people keep asking me about, so I'll bring it up again. Is this Flin Flon Hotel thing done?
Is it done, you said?
Yeah, and is this are they ever gonna start construction, the people that apparently have bought it, or is that ever gonna happen?
Okay, how do you like me to answer that one? There are still people in the process of studying it, and we're waiting for a plan to arrive in front of us.
What was that, George, sorry?
We're waiting for a plan to arrive in front of us, we're hoping that it will. But we have had, I think I've explained that before, we've had several incidents that have come up that have held this thing back. So at this point, I'm going to say that we are extremely hopeful,
Okay.
and that's still the best that I can do today.
So there's still interest in them doing this then?
Yes, there's still interest from our part in having it go, and there's still some interest in the original developer's part, but the developers have changed, the nature of the developers has changed slightly from the beginning, so that's what we have to work on.
But that being said, we had the developer sent asbestos people up this week.
Okay.
So there's,
Well, that's progress.
Yeah.
there's some progress there, yeah.
And,
It's-
sorry.
Go ahead.
No,
No.
and it really needs to be clarified that this isn't sold to somebody and we're crossing our fingers that they're gonna do something with it. I know we all see comments about this from time to time, because apparently many years ago it went into receivership, somebody had it for a while. That's not the case here. Nobody owns that building, nobody has that building except the city of Flin Flon. So we are still, as our mayor says, hopeful, things are starting to move now.
Okay.
So then what's the ownership situation for that building? Does the city still own it? Do the new
Yes.
developers own it? Okay.
And maybe Ms. Brown can extrapolate on that.
Okay, we still own the property. There's some conditions that have to be met before we can do any transferring. One is that we will have the drawings for the hotel.
Okay.
So, and we're hoping that that will come in a reasonable amount of time.
Okay.
But I was also very hopeful to find out that they did have their asbestos personnel looking at the asbestos situation in the hotel.
Okay.
And that was this past week, you said, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So how often then, because I know I've heard people on council mention it before, when you've had a chance to meet with the developers or to have discussions with them, when's the last time that you've been able to meet with them?
We get conversations through email quite frequently and phone calls.
Okay.
We haven't had anyone down here in person, other than their asbestos people last week, from the developers themselves since the fall.
Okay. Okay. And to kind of build off of something that George said there about the nature of the developers has changed. As far as the progression of the project, because it hasn't been quite a year since it's been announced. And obviously, very few people would try to take on construction or renovation of a large building in winter. Are we expecting to see construction work or architectural work or engineering work done on that building or on that site this summer? And if so, like, what are we looking at? Do we know the nature of it?
You know, right now,
About the buildings.
what's that?
I think it would be fair to say that the 3 buildings attached, that would be something that would progress this summer, and the inside. So that's why they came up here to look at the asbestos abatement,
Okay.
because to start the demo inside, they have to do that step first. So I think it's hopeful. As far as like a big construction forward, I can't see it, but maybe. We can't guess what they're doing, but it would be safe to say that that's a short-term project that can happen. But to go on what George was saying, that we gave them a lot of grace, because one of the main owners and investors was sick short-term, so it really, that was part of the delay as well. So now everybody's kind of restructuring.
Okay.
But, so it's fair to say that I think they'll probably get the building ready and then start next year.
Well, yeah, it started.
We're hopeful for that, yeah. But the 3 buildings, for sure.
Okay. I guess, given everything that's changed with the plan, it wouldn't be fair to put an ETA on this?
No.
No.
That's what I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah.
It's complicated.
We may know more once we get some results back from the developer with regards to the assessment from the abatement.
Okay.
Let's leave it like this. If we
Yeah.
know something, we'll be glad to give you the
Yeah.
information.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. I feel like it's one of those matters where there hasn't been a whole lot to update, and in the vacuum of there being any other information, people in Flin Flon will talk,
Yeah.
as I'm sure you all know.
They'll make up whatever they need, that's fine, that's okay, that satisfies the need for them. In the meantime, we're just gonna keep our eye on the target. We still are hopeful to give something, and we're not throwing this away.
Of course. Did you have anything else?
No, that's good for me.
Okay. If we're in mood for updating on projects, might as well ask about how the pool's going. It's been a little while since I've asked at one of these meetings. What are we looking at right now with it?
Have you been there?
I was gonna say.
Not in a bit.
You should go.
So, last time I was there, big hole, really big hole. Looked like a hole.
Lots of concrete.
Lots
Now
of-
they have concrete.
Okay,
Go take a look.
perfect.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
think they're on schedule.
Okay,
Yes.
Yeah. They're on schedule.
okay,
Yeah.
perfect. When's the last time the city got,
I agree.
The Aquabells.
Yeah.
I got confused there for a second. It's like, wait a second, that's part of the committee, I see. Fair enough.
Christen now.
There we go. The awkward.
I wish I had done it every meeting
But,
Do it again, ladies.
yeah. Yeah.
on everything we talk
Just
about.
buy an applause sign and hang it from the ceiling. So again, like I said before with the hotel project, like you get updates on this from time to time. What did the last one say? Like, what are we looking at in the short term here, and what are we looking at for the rest of the summer?
You saw the last report, the one I saw was the basement part was poured. They were working on setting up for the pool basin itself.
Yeah.
I don't believe the basin is poured yet,
I
to
don't.
my knowledge, but they were working on getting that ready, so.
Yeah.
We're in, that's what the part I know. Every now and then, my wife and I just drive by and take a look and see, there are differences from last time to the next time, so we know they're working.
Yeah, they are really hustling down there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we got the 18 on this.
Yeah, they're pretty
You
good.
know,
I think they're doing 10 and 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're here for 10 days and then they go home for 4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which seems to be working really well.
Fair enough. Okay, wanted also to ask about this maintenance and occupancy first reading bylaw here. I haven't had a chance to pour through it, but what are we looking at with this?
It's an amendment to our bylaw so we can be more aggressive on the graffiti situation in town, where we can tell property owners that they need to clean up their graffiti, and if they don't, we will, and they'll be charged.
Somebody wrote on your building.
Yes, I heard that
We
today.
just talked about it.
And the rules are going to apply to
To
us.
us too. We very much said, we better get all of our buildings done right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as I know earlier today, I was trying to shoot an event next to the library and had to try to frame my shots around what areas get tags in the back. So in that case, I'd have to ask then, if this continues on, are we looking at, or this, as the bylaw continues on, are we looking at this being remediated this summer? Is this a future project? Like, what are we looking at for time?
Once it's done third reading, that's it.
Yeah.
Well,
And we just
yes, but
done
I
first
mean,
reading tonight, so the second that third reading is done, it's in effect. And that means that wherever the tags are, whatever's going on, those owners, homes, businesses, whoever,
The city.
the city will write ourselves a letter.
okay,
And it starts, and I mean, the objective is, if you attack this kind of issue and make it happen, make it stick and keep doing it, it eventually lessens, and it does. And the one thing we do know is if you do nothing, you know what you're gonna wind up with, just more. So, it's time to approach it.
okay.
Yeah.
It seems like I didn't word my question correctly, which is like, I'll try a different tack. As it's currently written, and assuming this passes second and third reading, again, an assumption to make, but either way, what sort of, are we looking at a certain time period from when a property owner is notified to when they need to clean it up? And if so, what are we looking at for that? Like, you got 3 weeks, or we do it ourselves, or?
I think we have more, I don't, the way it reads now is
Actually, you know what? I've got the bylaw. Just give me a second.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Because currently, like, there is an existing bylaw like that. So people at their homes or whatnot, if we write them a letter and say, okay, you have to clean up your yard, or you don't pick up your garbage, we'll give you X amount of time, and then we'll end up doing it.
Okay, so then this, just again, cursory glance, because I'm trying to read it while in the meeting, and that's not doing anybody any favors, honestly, but I'm doing my best. This is kind of rolled into the existing rules about the city's, like, basically like a nuisance bylaw, like if your grass isn't cut for X amount of months.
It's in there too, yeah.
Yeah, so basically the same thing as that, but kind of beefed up to include graffiti?
That's
Yes.
it. It's the same occupancy and maintenance bylaw, but it's beefed up to include graffiti.
Okay.
And I can't find it specifically in here, but I wanted to say 30 days.
Or 14 days
Well,
or something.
14 days rang a bell too, but I've looked at 3 different bylaws this week, so I don't remember for sure if it was this one or not.
Occupational hazard, it sounds like.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Also, I don't know whether I should ask, because it looks like Lynn's still looking.
It's okay, ask them.
I found something on page 4, it says the owner notice of objection within 14 days.
That's
So
it.
Once they found out about
Yeah.
it, they have 14 days to actually respond with the objection. So that's at the bottom of page 4.
Objection order? Yeah, okay, fair enough. And filing an objection would stay proceedings for as long as it takes for city council to respond to it. All right, we got there. Perfect. Also wanted to talk about something that came up at the last meeting, the recommendation to AMM. I know that there was discussion about when the next meeting, when that was supposed to be brought up, was supposed to take place, but I couldn't remember it
Monday.
offhand. Monday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Upcoming Monday.
All right, excellent. And that is the one, that's not the one that's here, right?
That is the one that's here. But so
Okay,
the big AMM is gonna be in November, that like, so I think,
25th to 27th is the AGM in Winnipeg.
okay,
so we have to push that as a northern motion from here after Monday.
It has to be passed here to go on to the bill.
It's got a heck of a long ways to go,
Yeah,
like,
but
like
this
it's way
Monday,
too early to even really start talking about
yeah,
it.
then November, and then who knows after November either.
Well, then it's got, yeah,
okay.
It's really up to the province.
yeah,
It's just a resolution asking them to start the conversation, and if the province decides, no, we're not, then, no, they're not.
Yeah, it's just kicking the ball towards their court.
Yes.
And in fact, if the AMM decides, no, we're not passing this.
That's right.
Exactly. They won't
And,
push
and,
it.
you know, people
There are
ask,
some hurdles to jump prior to that.
people ask what the AMM does, this is exactly what they do. They advocate, they pass resolutions, same as the FCM where Heather and I were. They pass resolutions and then go to the higher ups to, they have the ears of these people, so that's the reason.
Okay. One more question, and that'll be it from me. I know, going to a Town of Creighton meeting from last week, that they are currently looking over their emergency evacuation plan because of everything that happened with the fire and everything like that. And people have mentioned here that there were some gaps in the 3 communities and some redundancies and everything like that that needed to be addressed. Is the city currently looking at revising its current emergency and evacuation plan? And if so, what are we looking at?
We're looking at everything. So what we're doing right now is, we've been having, how many, we had 3 or 4 meetings?
Oh, 4, I think.
4
Yeah.
for sure, here in this room. And we've had as many stakeholders as possible from around the community. That includes the Creighton, Danair Beach, but it also includes the RHA, it includes the emergency people and different kinds of fire people. So we've had, and provincial bodies from both sides of the border. And so we're looking at not just revising our emergency, but tying all the emergency plans together so that nobody's in conflict with each other and everybody works together, and there's a line of, an ABC and what to do regionally here if we have an emergency, because emergencies don't just happen, on Main Street, they happen in the whole area. So our whole communication thing is being studied. That's probably the biggest thing, is making sure everybody talks to each other. And now we're also looking at who has access to what, any kind of resources, and who can call them in what order you would do it, and that sort of thing. So it is all encompassing, and it's going to be a living, working document. We will have it, I think, electronic at some point, am I right? And everybody's will be pooled together so that we'll be able to check and see what the RHA plans to do in a certain situation. Yeah, as can they with ours at any time. So it's going to be, it's not just a simple thing. It turns out that we found out how little we knew when we thought we were prepared in the first place. We realized, you have to have an emergency to realize what it is you were missing.
Great. Fair enough, that would do it for me.